Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live session. We haven't done anything live on our YouTube channel in, I think, 3 years. So it is time. My name is Kimberly. I'm with 37 Signals, and I'm joined by two people from the 37 Signals team, Andy Smith, who is on our product design team, and Ashley Bowie, who is on support. And today we want to walk through one of the latest updates that we've made in Basecamp. If you follow along with 37 Signals, you know that we're constantly updating Basecamp and our Hey product. I always like to say that when you sign on with Basecamp, you're getting like the worst product you're going to get because we keep updating it and keep making it better every 6 weeks. So it's kind of fun to see what those new feature updates are. And one we just recently released, Andy and his team worked on, so we're going to show that to you today. And Andy's going to talk us through some of the things that they had to consider and think through as they built this product update. But before we do that, I want to show you kind of the before of how the feature worked. So we often make videos to show the before and after. I'm going to show you the before, and then Andy's going to talk us through the after. So let me get that ready for you guys.
Amazing if we could toggle through docs and files like a gallery. We often have a lot of stuff in there, and it would save so much time and so many clicks to avoid having to open one, close it, click another.
So that is the before of how you used to look through multiple files, documents, photographs in Basecamp. There's a much better after. Andy, I'm going to turn it over to you if you want to kind of talk us through maybe where this started, how the pitch came to you and your programmer that you guys worked together on this feature. What was the first thing that came to you when it came to updating this feature?
Yeah, sure. So at 37 Signals, the way we normally work is that we'll have a pitch and we'll get it, and it's basically like, here's the problem we're trying to solve. So in this case, it was basically that video we just saw. It was that largely just written out. So I'll go ahead and share that in case you haven't seen that before. It's kind of interesting to see the level of like detail and fidelity that's included. So usually it's pretty loose. At the top, it's just like, here's the kind of end result we want to have, just some way to cycle through images and files in a folder. And then so it sort of explains the problem. There's a video very similar to the one we just watched, clicking in and out of images. And here's sort of a, wait, which one is this? Okay, no, that's a different way of viewing the same thing. And then in this one, it also includes a couple of quotes like customers have written in saying, hey, this is annoying. Can't you do something about that? So it just gives you a lot of context around like, why is this important for people? What's the use case they're looking for, solving for, etc. And
Andy, I'm going to pause right there because we always ask customers to give us product feature requests. So if you are a Basecamp customer and you have a feature request, we do listen to those. So this is like a perfect example of how those, especially on the support side, Ashley, I'm sure you can jump in, how we log those and keep track of what customers are asking us for. And then they very often get made into a pitch just like this of real people who are using the product who want an update. So Andy, sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to point that out. We always love when our customers tell us what would help their Basecamp experience.
Yeah, it's all good. That's very true. And a pretty important piece of this is this appetite section. Very short, obviously. But what it's saying is, we think this is a problem worth solving, but we don't want to spend like 2.5 months building a solution for it. It's not that important. So basically what it's saying is, how important do we think this is? And so we say like, we're willing to work 2 weeks on this. And so whatever solution we come up with has to be like shipped around, the 2-week mark. And so the solution here, it isn't really spelled out too clearly. It's just basically a starting place that's in the pitch. And so in this version, the sort of idea, a little sketch of these little arrows on either side. And the idea isn't that like you have to do it exactly like that. It's sort of a starting place. Think about it. Maybe it'll end up a little bit differently. It kind of doesn't matter as long as it solves, the use case and sort of helps the people solve the problem they're trying to solve. So it's pretty loose and flexible. Okay.
And Andy, you partnered with a programmer. Who is your programmer like tag team? I know we work in teams of 2 often. We've said that a few times, but Andy on the design side, and then who did you work with on the programming side?
This was Jose.
Okay, awesome. So the two of you get this pitch at the same time. You're both reading it through and figuring out how to solve the problem.
Right. And usually the way it works is, there's not like a super clear like design for it yet. So like obviously that's my first task is figure out like how should we do this. And for Jose, like sort of regardless of how we end up solving it, there's probably some work he can get started on. So in other words, while the designer is sort of like, thinking through things and working through options, the developer can sort of work on the core stuff that regardless of what the exact solution looks like, this core stuff will need to be done. So he started working on that. And whenever I read this pitch, I was like, this is going to be easy. All you have to do is like click on an image, like, click on the image box and it'll like get big. And then you can use little arrows to tab around. Like this is going to take 5 minutes. It can be easy. It's not going to
You're like 2 weeks. Who needs 2 weeks?
Exactly. But then as soon as like the very instant I started like making some mock-ups and thinking through, that fell apart pretty quickly. And to sort of explain that, I'll go ahead and share my screen again.
There's a few people here with us live. So if you're here live, join us in the chat. Let us know where you're here from. There's a couple of people. So hello, we see you. Thank you for joining us. Sorry, Andy, to interrupt you.
Hey, it's all good. So I thought, hey, what if you could just, click this image and then it would, expand to the size of the screen, and that would be it. So great idea. Although it occurred to me that it's not just images that you can have here. You can have like any kind of file. You can upload, any file from your computer. You can add, Google Docs and like Basecamp links and PDFs and videos, and there's like folders. There's so many things you can do here, and it really wouldn't make sense to, for instance, click on a zip file or something like that, or like, this sort of link to a Miro file to click on it and see it really big like that. It's not super helpful.
Right.
And another good example is like docs. Like whenever you click on a doc, you would just want to go to the doc and read it, right? You don't want to have this intermediate state where you have sort of like a small zoomed in version, right? And so it occurred to me that also we have like hundreds of thousands of existing people who use Basecamp, and it would be like kind of a not great move to just like pull the rug out from under them. Like, normally for all these years, docs and files has worked a certain way, and now you built up all this muscle memory, and now it works differently. So have fun with that. So we usually like try to avoid stuff like that. We want Basecamp to feel like very stable, and the way you've been using it is the way you can continue using it. So it seemed pretty clear that we needed to separate what we were trying to do. So in other words, whenever you click on a card in here, it should do the same thing that it used to do. We shouldn't mess with that. And we need to have some sort of separate button or separate action that lets you see the preview. So that way, for something like images, where it is very helpful to view at large on this within this page, you can do that. Or for something like a doc, you can just click on it and get to the doc like normal. So we need to handle both of those cases. So so we thought, let's just add a button up here. And at first we thought, okay, so videos, images, those are the most obvious things that need a sort of preview button. And so at first we thought, let's just add it there, and then all the other things like, zip, and external links and docs and folders, like you don't really like need previews for those. So whenever you click, so we just like remove the button from those. But it turns out that creates some like pretty odd scenarios. So let me think of a good example here. Okay, so here's a video. So let's say that we had this little preview button on here, but we didn't have one on this folder. So if you click on this, and just as an aside, it's pretty cool that you can
preview the video
right here on this. Exactly. So you have these left and right buttons, and you can see here that to the left and right of this video, there are sort of things that aren't super helpful on their own to preview. But you would expect that whenever I zoom into this waterfall video, if I hit right, you would expect to see like the next adjacent file, whatever it is, which is of course what we do. We show this folder right here. And so it would be strange to be able to get to this folder in the preview mode, but not this is kind of hard to explain, but by paging over, but not be able to get to it just from the index page right here.
Right.
And then it would be just odd to have little icons on some files and not others. So it seemed it seemed like obvious to say, look, let's just make it super easy, super regular. Let's just put one of these preview buttons on every single file, no matter what. And which means that we just needed to make sure we had preview, like different preview types for all of these different files. So for instance, for docs, you can see we have a little tiny preview. And we spent a little bit of extra time to make sure that whenever you see the doc in the preview, that we have a bigger version, but we added some like extra polish to it so the content fades out nicely. And there's even like color coding. And let me see. Oh, and you can also see comments, or like how many comments are on this, etc.
Andy, quick question for you that came from someone on YouTube, and I don't know the answer to it, honestly. In videos, you can preview the video when it's in that lightbox view. If you had an audio file, could you also preview that in that screen?
I don't 100% know that off the top of my head. I'm going to guess probably not. That isn't one of the file types that we like did a ton of testing for. So, but that'll be interesting to know.
Yeah, it's a good question. I was like, I don't know the answer to
that. Yeah, so I don't know is the right answer to that. But I'll put a bookmark in that and look at it. Yeah, okay, so I'm trying to think where we should go from here. So the short answer is we're also like looking at the final version that is in production right now with these little Zoom icons.
Right.
Yes, and so sort of go ahead.
Nope, you're in the perfect place. That's exactly where I was going to tell you to go.
Okay, cool. So to sort of like go back to that original video we saw at the beginning, the sort of, how it used to be version, this is sort of like the how it works now version and why this is super helpful. So let's say that we have a bunch of headshots and we're trying to find like the best one we want to use for our project, whatever it is. So before we'd have to like click on this, go to the page, we have to like bounce back and forth. But now I can just zoom into this. I can use the arrow keys on my keyboard, or of course I can just use my mouse here. And I can like flip around left and right, find the one I like. And then let's say that this is the one I really like, and I want to like notify someone or have a conversation, add some comments. I can just, from that lightbox, I can go to this page and, do my normal add comments thing here. So for that kind of use case, this like really speeds things up, really makes it nice, and it also doesn't disrupt the way people currently use docs and files. So it's kind of a nice layer on top of what we already have.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I was looking through some photos from our last company meetup, and once this update happened, it made it so much easier because you could just click through the photos, and then even videos, just preview a video if you wanted to before clicking to the next one. So photos and images really are where this like new product update shines, in my opinion.
Exactly.
I do have a quick answer for that commenter, that question asker.
I love that.
Cannot preview the audio. So once you get to that kind of like when you click on that magnifying glass and it opens up, it just does show you the icon to give you the option to go to the page or download. So kind of what you would expect for like a document.
Gotcha.
Similar behavior.
Thank you for figuring that out, Ashley.
It's fine though. That feedback is noted and we'll take that. So we can make an adjustment down the line. At the end of, if y'all don't know, Basecamp works in 6-week cycles, right? And so at the end of those cycles, we have about 2 weeks typically to go from one to the next, where we kind of take a minute to handle any kind of additional bugs that we want to, kind of reset a bit, decide where we want to put our focus. So truly, any of your suggestions that come through, they might get picked up at the end of a cycle as a quick win. So even if what you're thinking of is not like the biggest feature change ever, you're just like, can you make this small adjustment? Just let us know. support@basecamp.com, guides@basecamp.com. All those emails come to my team. We'll be able to help.
Perfect. I'm going to pop that up on the screen so you know how to get to Ashley and the support team. A couple of questions came through on the chat that I know we can answer really quickly. Can you use keyboard shortcuts to navigate the preview as well? The answer is yes. So you can use those keyboard arrows in addition to either clicking on the triangles on either side. Your arrow keys on your keyboard also work for that. And then Ruben, when will this be in my version? It is in your version. You have it right now. So go check out your docs and files. It is there. You can preview with that magnifying glass and then flip through to see your other images, files, documents, folders very quickly. So it is live there now. Andy, thanks for joining us. Ashley, thank you as always. And I have that email address up for you. Thanks for those of you who have joined us live. This is the first time we've done this kind of behind the feature live segment. So let us know in the chat if you liked it. And if so, we might do some more. Thank you guys. And we'll wrap it up here.
All right. See ya.